Hello again.
Hey.
Once again.
Hey, Daily Stoics. It's
Oh,
time to decode today's passage.
it's time to decode. Yes.
We are on
I was going to say decompose.
Oh, okay. It's time to
Like
decode.
poetically decompose type of
Okay.
like disappear or something.
Okay. Well, the theme for April is unbiased thought, so
Let's come
maybe
back.
decompose in that regard.
Yes.
Okay.
Back to the earth.
Okay, April 5th. Welcome. Trust, but verify.
Mm-hmm. Many things coming up for this one, but let's see what
Epictetus. Epictetus has a quote for us today. First off, don't let the force of the impression carry you away. Say to it, hold up a bit and let me see who you are and where you are from. Let me put you to the test. Don't let the force of the impression carry you away.
The force of the impression. That's where I'm like having a hard time with force. Okay, force of impression. Somebody, your own impression, or
Like the impression you have of a situation. Sometimes it feels like there's a lot of force behind it.
Because like, oh, I know what to do, or like
I know what's going on.
I know what's going on. Yeah, because because it resembles something maybe that we went through before, and so now we gain this confidence that we know the presence because of the past. And there is this force behind it. You're like, I want to go fix it, or especially men are like into like, oh, I know what's going on. I'm gonna go fix. I'll give you solutions, right? And it's all of this stuff. It's like, yeah. Okay. And then can we go further? Okay.
He says, say to it. So say to the impression. Hold up a bit and let me see who you are and where you are from.
Or
let me put you to the test.
Where you coming from?
Yeah.
Yeah,
like looking at what do I really know for sure? What information don't I have? What do I see a certain way that somebody else might see a different way? And like bring all of that into perspective. Let the impression sort of flesh out a little bit.
So that's how trust but verify.
I don't know what trust but verify.
Like trust that maybe like, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't get the trust. I get the verify. He's clearly talking about how to verify your impressions.
Like, because maybe those impressions are correct. They could be correct, but maybe they're not correct all the time. Therefore, you need to verify it. Like listening to yourself is a good thing, but sometimes it's sometimes we all experience that we do something that we then later regret, or any of those I'm like, why was I so dumb, and all of this other stuff, right? But so that's how I'm connecting it into like the trust. Like you have to trust that those things that are coming from inside of you, the impressions are trying to help. They're trying to be a good thing, but then we do experience here and there that it didn't work out as well as I thought it would, and I just let that impression to just run free. So it's this, there is this impression. What is it? Where is it coming from? Does this want a good thing for everyone, or just me? Or where is it rooted? That force of wanting to X, Y, and Z something,
Yeah. I'm still having trouble with the trust part.
Well, I'm looking at the trust as like, well, if you because then someone might say, well, then nothing what's coming from inside is good. So shut it all down. But the trust comes in my head. It comes into like, oh, you have to trust that that stuff is good for something, but it's not your friend, or it's not you know what I mean. It can run wild. It's like a fire or electricity. Like it's a good tool, but you can't let it run free because it's gonna go. It needs some sort of a boundary checking mechanism. And that's the trust, right? Like the trust is like, no, do use it. But that's just maybe the title, and that is not necessarily, because the title of this, I assume that's Ryan's title.
It is Ryan's title.
Yeah. So
but maybe he's reading maybe he'll tell us what he thinks Epictetus is saying by trust. I do get what you're saying though. It's like trust that the impression is trying to tell you something, but don't necessarily trust the something that is contained within the impression. Question that. Question what's the content of this impression.
They are.
But like
the delivery is the force. Trust the force, or something. That could be. This is another way of looking at it. Like the delivery system is a good thing.
The delivery system of the impression is a good thing. But the impression itself might be false.
Might be all kinds of questionable.
The faster it comes to you, I would say, probably the more false it is.
Say that again?
The faster an impression comes to you. Because that's what he's also saying. Like, don't let the force of the impression carry you away. Like, it's this fast sort of thing.
Yeah, that reminds me of like Gendlin talking about how like the fast comes from the mind. Like you ask yourself like, hey, how do I feel right now? And you might get this like a quick answer like, yeah, I'm great. Like it's very fast, and it's like and he's saying no, those fast ones, just let them go and keep sitting there and saying, no, how do I really feel? Like seriously, how do I really feel? And like that answer almost feels like it's coming from here, from your body, instead of this quick head answer. And so, and this is similar because now we might be in a situation where we want to get involved. Oh, there's this force of, I want to, it's like step back type of like hold that little more back and keep listening for answers to come from other places than just this quick head answer. Like there might be like an aha moment, and then you are onto something, or there might be a different like a different expression of the that experience versus this quick from the top of the head.
Yeah. Okie dokie. Here's what Ryan has to say today. One of the wonders of your mind is the quickness with which it can comprehend and categorize things. As Malcolm Gladwell wrote in Blink, we are constantly making split-second decisions based on years of experience and knowledge, as well as using the same skill to confirm prejudices, stereotypes, and assumptions. Clearly, the former thinking is a source of strength, whereas the latter is a great weakness. We lose very little by making a beat to consider our own thoughts. Is this really so bad? What do I really know about this person? Why do I have such strong feelings here? Is anxiety really adding much to the situation? What's so special about blank? By asking these questions, by putting our impressions to the test, as Epictetus recommends, we're less likely to be carried away by them or make a move on a mistaken or biased one. We're still free to use our instincts, but we should always, as the Russian proverb says, trust but verify.
Did that do anything with the trust by verify, the trust part?
I mean, no, because he says we're still free to use our instincts. So maybe he's saying like instincts are the thing you should trust, but you should also verify that they're taking you in the right direction. It seems like he's pairing trust with instincts in this sentence.
Yeah. And but instincts is also, in other words, instinct is a thought. Because instinct says, like, it's a thought that says, oh, we should go this way. And now we say, that's my instinct. But is there instinct without thoughts at all?
Well, it depends on what
reaction
you...
or
Yeah,
something,
I mean, it depends on what you call a thought, you know? Because, like, I think there's also behavior is instincts. Like, when you go to the doctor and they do the knee thing, so, like, you're not having a thought. You know, if something happens and like you need to run someplace or something like that, you're just reacting behaviorally to the situation. Your body is like primed for it. So I think instincts could probably happen like body first, mind second. Like the thoughts come in as a reaction to the body doing things, like ow, like a thought would say ow, but you've already like pulled your hand away from the fire by the time you have a thought that says ow. So I think it can be like body first, brain, like mind second. Or obviously it could be mind first and you're just sitting on the couch, like, you know, being envious of somebody's life or something like that. And you have like these instincts to think a certain way about this idealized life, and you're just sitting on the couch. But ultimately, like, that instinct it's like, that's just thought going through.
Yeah, it's like an instinct. That's interesting. It's interesting that we're calling the mental instinct of like, oh, I should do this or that. We call that the same thing as like somebody's getting poked and then they go, ow. Like, that's interesting that's the same word. Because that's like a totally different mechanism or something.
What is?
The instinct, the mental instinct of you wanting to... the mental instinct that you say, I should do this thing. I should go and buy that house. I should do that. There's an instinct in it. You have so it's interesting that same word, instinct, is also used for bodily sensations. And like, hey, there is a you see a robe on the ground and you go, you have instinct that you're thinking it's a snake. Yeah. So you have this instinct. Like, it's interesting that it's the same word. And
that they're both part of the same category.
Yeah, but it's the same word, I'm not finding connection between the instinct of you like having some sort of a connection to something and you're thinking about something and you have this type of instinct versus the instinct of just running away from a cobra. Like, I'm not connecting those two, but maybe they're not.
I mean, to confess, like, I don't actually know the definition of an instinct. Like, what is an instinct and what is not an instinct?
I just found it interesting that it's like the same word, but I found those two things totally not completely unrelated. They're somewhat related, or I'm not seeing the relations between those two things, but they use the same word.
I mean, an instinct, like, maybe if I took a stab at defining it, would be something that is just, it's not chosen. It's like what we're talking about with, like, thoughts. They just come through, like the weather. So there's also, like, this, like, kind of like bodily reactions to things that also just kind of come through the system, like the weather. Like, we don't choose those, like pulling away from a sharp object, or like when the doctor does the reflex thing in the knee. Like there's no choice there for us to say, I'm going to do this now. It's more instinctual. It's more just something that's like, oh, it just happened. And like, I'm surprised almost that this happened because I didn't have the experience of choosing it. And so maybe if instinct is that element, that the non-chosen element of thoughts and behaviors, then I see how it all wraps up under that umbrella. But to your point, yeah, it's like a thought is like a different thing than like a physical reaction to something.
Yeah, because I can also see like somebody's coming to you with a needle. Now that is not necessarily an instinct. That's a learned thing. I'm afraid of this needle. So that's a thought process, and you're scared of that what's about to happen, but you're not actually bodily instinctively feeling it, right? You're just seeing it and you're just like, it's coming, versus I have my eyes closed and I don't know what's going on. All of a sudden somebody pokes me. I go, that's like instinctively, or somebody touches your nose, you go like that. Instinctively you go back. So like the instinct in the bodily sensation, or like the felt sense or something of the body is like different than somehow the instinctual thinking or something, because you're not thinking about it when this happens.
Yeah, it's a different thing. It's a bodily reaction versus a thought.
Versus a thought like something is coming. I see it. I'm scared. No, don't do that. Right? That's not necessarily instinctive. That's more of a thought.
Right, but that thought is an instinctual thought to have in that moment.
Or habitual thought of it's coming. It's like, this is gonna be a pain.
And this is where my vocabulary is failing me, because what is the difference between a thought that arises out of habit and a thought that arises out of instinct? So, yeah, I mean it's crazy because now we're kind of getting into semantics on this a little bit. And this is like Ryan's word that he threw in there. So on top of like, what does the dictionary mean about instinct? It's like, well, what does Ryan Holiday mean about instinct in this like particular sentence or whatever? So what do you like, high level, what do you take from this?
I like to go think about more about this instinct thing, and this, like the like I want to kind of like maybe meditate on that or something, and just kind of focus on it and see if I can like come up with something that makes more sense or something in there. Because like that's almost essentially saying like trust by verify, trust your thoughts, because they're coming from a certain place and they're arising in my presence or in my preview or whatever you want to call it, right? And so what am I just saying? No, go away. No, use them. These are great. But a lot of times those thoughts come and they say like, do stupid stuff, right? Like, and then if you do all of them, so if you trust them all blindly, it's not a good strategy. So, but sending them all away is also not a good strategy. So he's saying, trust them that they want a good thing, but verify to make sure that they are, in fact, trying to get you to go to where you want to go, and not some crazy other places, misdirection type of a thing. And so I think that this is how it's connected to trust by verify. It's trusting instincts, but instincts are essentially thoughts in my view, right? So I get the bodily instinct or all of that stuff. That's different maybe, but so I'm continuously looking at it as like a thought, even for the April theme. of the thought.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely talking about the thought,
yeah.
because your bodily stuff is like, it's usually protective.
Yeah.
And so it's like, of course I'm going to pull my hand away from a burning stove.
Yeah. Cool. Well, this was a good one.
Yeah, he
For
funked
sure.
me up with that word
Yeah.
trust, but
Yeah, good. Awesome.
see you here tomorrow.